Hey guys, I wonder if we're going to have a convergence between image and video AI creation, which is having a kind of a renaissance or a revolution in some cases or some ways, and how that converges with agentic and agents and AI agents, which is a hot trend in general in the AI space, right? And so, like, if you go into conversations that Microsoft, Salesforce, OpenAI, Claude, all these huge, easily the biggest AI companies in the world, that is the current topic, right? AI agents and how that's going to influence productivity, how it's going to help productivity, how we are going to have a scenario where, hey, I can talk to an agent and it's going to do a bunch of things for me, like book travel for me, maybe take care of booking all my appointments with my doctors and my kids, and taking care of all these things in my life, how that's definitely happening, right? And how Salesforce is, they're all about their agent force or what, I forget what they call it, but like how that's going to be the trend for them and how they're really intent on, essentially agentizing the entire software as a service stack, right? Where everything that businesses and enterprise touch has an agent working on behalf of it, because not only does it have access to data, a database, it also has access to workflows, and it can also talk to a human in the loop, whenever it needs, and then goes back into like working on something. It can even like access your actual computer and browser flow and like log you into things or make decisions on your behalf. Like all of that is kind of this trend in the agent world, and a lot of investments going into that. And I think a lot of it is also like a way to deal with the plateau we're seeing in LLMs, where Ilian Sutskever, which I'm covering in another video, talked about how we only have one internet. So we're going to hit a threshold now where training AI is going to hit the limit of like human intelligence, because we only have so much, right? And so like from there, what is the next level of thinking? And so in some ways, agents kind of solves that, where we can only have so many of AI that are as intelligent as the average human, or not even at the average human level, but we can have it do all these like near human level intelligent tasks and solve a lot of problems for us. So I think that's really interesting. But how does that converge with image to video? Because we're having this trend right now where there's multi-millions, in fact billions of dollars going into Sora and Runway and Hailua AI. It's a global competition, right? Of open source versus closed source versus China versus America. All of these trends of pushing the game, the game war of AI video and AI image to a level where probably in the next few years we're going to see future film ready fidelity AI content coming out, right? But does that converge with agents at some point, where instead of, and I think it already is, to be fair, like I'm answering my own question here, I think it already is, where I not necessarily have to go through this workflow of going into Midjourney, going into Sora, going into whatever tool it is, Luma Dream Machine, etc., and like trying to figure it out and like prompting until I get exactly what I want, doing all that prompt engineering, all that, like, versus I'm having an agent go in and do that all for me. I get to sit back and wait for like an hour or even less, and I get a whole storyboard with a comic book, with even a short film. All of that happens for me, all very rapidly, all with a different style, and I can just prompt get another style really rapidly. Like I really wonder how far away that is, and I wonder who's going to do it, because frankly, right now you're seeing this scenario where computer use and other tools like that are allowing you to have the AI at least see what's happening in the browser and or access things in the browser. Now, can it control a cursor? All that, that's all, a big open question. But like, how does that allow us to intermediate this scenario where some companies just don't have APIs, right? Like, for example, Sora and Midjourney currently don't have APIs versus, Runway, Luma Dream Machine, all these do have APIs, so you can access their, output models and put them into like interfaces like Krea.ai, which have all of them. All the open source models and API models are all in one place. Comfy UI as well, right? So like, at what point does that all become automated via agents, where maybe I'm out of work potentially, or maybe I'm curating even deeper workflows that are agentized completely. And so like this is where I'm kind of thinking about, where does this all end up? Where does the average professional AI creator, which is now getting paid to do commercials and feature films and all that, where do they end up in a year or 2 or 3 years when half to 60 to 80 to 90% of their actual workflow is being automated via agents? And so then where does their like creativity sit? Right now, there is a skill. There's not necessarily a talent, but there is definitely a skill associated with, how do I get the most out of these AI? Now that's going to be intermediated, right? That's going to collapse. And then the question is, what is this like 10% that maybe is preserved? Is that going to be like the ideation aspect? So to what extent are you maximizing the ideation? Does that go back to LLMs? It's a lot of things to think about. So I'm really curious, like, where does agents and Gen AI kind of like converge? It's a really interesting topic to me. Can't wait to see where it goes from here. Curious what your thoughts are. Check back in soon.